2-year-old American daughter, also deported to Honduras. They were also denied access to their lawyers. According to her lawyer, ICE prevented the mother from speaking to the lawyer or anyone else in the family. 2-year-old American citizen. Can't we slow it down and just take a moment before they're deported in 24 hours? The mom didn't want the daughter to stay in the United States. They may have had relatives in the United States, family. Even the own Trump-appointed federal judge overseeing this case has said that he had a strong suspicion that the government just deported a U.S. citizen with no meaningful due process.
What happens when American children, U.S. citizens by birth, are deported out of their own country without due process? That's the shocking issue Congressman Lou Correa just confronted Secretary Kristi Noem about. In a tense exchange, Correa accused DHS of allowing U.S.-born kids as young as 2 years old to be placed on planes and sent abroad without their lawyers being consulted, without time for families to decide, and without the basic constitutional protections that every citizen is supposed to have.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. First of all, Secretary Noem, welcome to this committee. Had the honor of hearing testimony from Secretary Kelly, Secretary Mayorkas, and of course you. Welcome. We all have the same interests, which are protecting Americans, American taxpayers, as we move forward in our jobs. And I want to say that your testimony, my colleague from Louisiana, and myself have the same interests, which are to protect Americans, especially to protect children, especially to protect American citizen children. That's where my concern is, Madam Secretary, that your administration, I believe, has consistently violated the law by denying due process to U.S.-born American children. Under your watch, you've deported American children, U.S.-born children. Some of the examples, I only have 5 minutes to talk about, but I'll come back to the case that was described or discussed a little while ago, which was 2 American children, 4 and 7, were put on a plane with their mother, sent to Honduras within 24 hours of being detained. There was an attorney involved. And we're debating right now the issue, as if you stated, that the mother wanted the child to go with her, but there was an attorney involved. That person was not consulted. That family was denied the opportunity to talk to that attorney. The attorney was there. What is wrong with asking the attorney? You've got a family that had been checking in, following ICE direction. Check in, bring your family to check in. They weren't let out. That happens in my district all the time. Families check in ICE. If ICE determines they should be deported, do you know what we do? I call ICE and I say, give them 30 days. Some of these families have been in this country 20, 30 years. Give them 30 days to get their situation in order. Make sure that they figure out how to keep their American children in the U.S. Give them the opportunity to make an educated decision on the lives of American citizens. In this case and other cases, ma'am, you have split-second decisions to make a decision on those children. And you, Madam Secretary, also make split-second decisions based on whatever coerced discussion you're having with that mother. And I say coerced because when you're scared to death, your life is about to change, and you've got an attorney next door that you will not permit that family to consult with that attorney, you got an issue. Case number 2, 2-year-old American daughter, also deported to Honduras. They were also denied access to their lawyers. According to her lawyer, ICE prevented the mother from speaking to the lawyer or anyone else in the family. 2-year-old American citizen. Can't we slow it down and just take a moment before they're deported in 24 hours? The mom didn't want the daughter to stay in the United States. They may have had relatives in the United States, family. Even the own Trump-appointed federal judge overseeing this case has said that he had a strong suspicion that the government just deported a U.S. citizen with no meaningful due process. Madam Secretary, I think we're all in agreement here Let's go after MS-13. Let's go after drug dealers. Let's go after Tren de Grúa. The bad folks who hurt my community as well as everybody else's community. But I fail to see where a child, 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 7-year-old children could be on your top of priorities for deportations. This is still America. Due process, the Fifth Amendment. Madam Secretary, I know ICE agents. I deal with them all the time. I've toured the southern border, blue uniforms, green uniforms, talking to them about what they need to do the job. More than happy to have that discussion with you, publicly or privately, but deporting U.S.-born children, ignoring their attorneys, take a deep breath. You've been here 20, 30 years. A lot of the times back home, when I ask the ICE agents, give them 30 days, you know what? Without fail, that person comes back or self-deports. We can do better. Madam Secretary, I'm going to ask you one last question in 9 seconds. You're under oath. Have you fired, retired, dismissed any DSA agents that have not followed your policies?
What kind of agents, sir?
DHS, Homeland Security agents. Yes.
Specific law enforcement officers?
Yes, ma'am. Officers under your watch.
I haven't given any specific orders to any law enforcement officers under the Department of Homeland Security. So there are, within the Department of Homeland Security, 280,000 employees. 47,000 of them are Coast Guard individuals. So, 230,000 individuals are employees, and we're very proud of the work that they do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for recognizing that it's Police Week. We have many agencies that have law enforcement officers in them that get up every single day to serve their communities and to make sure that our laws matter and that they're enforced appropriately and that no one is treated differently than someone else.
Lou Correa's questioning of Secretary Kristi Noem goes far beyond a heated exchange. What's unfolding here is a deeper struggle over the meaning of citizenship, due process, and the responsibilities of government agencies that enforce immigration law. Correa opens by grounding his point in shared values, protecting Americans, protecting taxpayers, and most importantly, protecting children. But then he raises a disturbing contradiction. Cases where U.S.-born children who are citizens under the Constitution, were deported alongside their undocumented parents. This isn't just a bureaucratic slip, it strikes at the heart of constitutional protections. If the Fifth Amendment guarantees due process, how can American citizens, children no less, be removed from their own country without even the chance to consult their lawyers? Take the case of the 4- and 7-year-old children deported to Honduras within 24 hours. Their attorney was present, but ICE refused to let the family consult with him. That refusal changes everything. Imagine the stakes: a mother under immense pressure, terrified about what will happen, and officials making split-second decisions without allowing full legal input. Correa emphasizes that when someone is facing deportation, especially after decades of living here, there's more than just paperwork involved. There are lives, families, and the rights of American citizens hanging in the balance. Correa's questioning highlights a tension inside the immigration system. On one hand, there's the mission to enforce the law and remove those without legal status. On the other, there's the constitutional promise that no citizen should be deprived of liberty without due process. When these collide, the system should slow down, take a breath, and ensure that fundamental rights aren't trampled in the rush to deport. But according to the cases Correa cites, that pause didn't happen. Instead, children as young as 2 years old were sent abroad without the chance for their families to explore alternatives that might have kept those U.S. citizens in their own country where they belong. This is where Correa presses hardest. He doesn't argue against deporting dangerous criminals. In fact, he affirms that gangs, drug dealers, and threats to public safety should absolutely be priorities. But he challenges the Secretary. How do 2-year-old and 4-year-old citizens become part of that enforcement priority list? Why should American children be treated as collateral damage in the process of removing their parents? When pressed, Secretary Noem avoids direct responsibility, emphasizing the scale of DHS, hundreds of thousands of employees, many of them dedicated public servants. And while that may be true, Correa's point still lingers. When the law is violated, when citizen children are deported, accountability cannot just disappear into the size of the bureaucracy. What makes this exchange powerful is that it forces us to ask deeper questions. How strong are the rights of citizenship when those rights belong to children whose parents are undocumented? Does the government see those children as fully American or as secondary to their parents' legal status? And perhaps, most importantly, what does justice look like when fear, speed, and enforcement take precedence over deliberation, rights, and humanity? These aren't abstract debates. They affect real families, real children, and the credibility of the American promise itself. If due process and equal protection under the law mean anything, they have to mean something even in the hardest, most complicated cases, especially for the most vulnerable. So here's the takeaway. Enforcement must be balanced with humanity, law must be balanced with rights, and government accountability must be more than words. Citizenship is not conditional, it is not optional, it is a promise. And when that promise is broken, even for a child, it raises questions that cut to the core of who we are as a country. If you found this breakdown valuable and believe more people should understand what's at stake in these hearings, don't just move on. Share this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so we can continue unpacking the stories that reveal how power, law, and rights collide in America today.